Okay, since we have done the alignment for our app, now it's time to go to the coding part. Okay, we're coming back to our Xcode, and the first thing that we need to start from is to download the image, the user related information. Okay, in order to program anything in this or related to this post page, we need to create a separate coding file for this. Right click on your project folder and select your new file, CocoaTouch class. The class name, it will be of type UI View Controller, and the name will be post VC. Okay, we'll click next and create. So this is our coding class. I will remove these comments and this function of the code, this block of code. And I'll make only comment now, first loading function. Okay. Or you know that this function loaded when the view is shown to the user. Loaded only one time. So it's a different from view did appear or view did disappear. You know this from my another course. Okay. So now we want to download the user profile image and the user full name. So select your user profile picture image view called Assistant Editor. Go select the view controller, go to class inspector and assign post view controller. Okay, select the view controller post VC, go to class inspector, assign this class to be connected to the post view controller. Excellent. Now select that one here. We need to select, you can close Assistant Editor, select the image view, then call it again. Okay, hold Control, or better to do it from here so you will not touch constraints. Hold Control, left mouse click, drag it here. I will call it Ava image view. And we have a full name. Select your full name label, hold Control, left mouse click, drag it here. Full name label. And these are user interface objects. Okay, so when this page is shown, we want to load the user profile picture and the full name. If we go to by view controller, we have here the function which is called load user. So as you see this function, we will have to write the same function. Definitely, I would not advise you to copy paste this function. I would advise you to write this function so you can practice writing the code. In this video, in order to have a better practice, I will write this code from the beginning. Func load user, open and close round brackets, then in curly brackets, we will first access first name and the last name from the saved global variable, which is an app delegate here. This stores all user related information. And we will write guard let first name equals to current user question mark. Then in the square brackets, we're accessing the value first name. Then we put in comma and we're accessing a next value. Let last name equals to current user question mark in the square brackets, and in quotation marks we'll write last name. Then we'll put comma, we're going further, let ava path equals to current user question mark, open and close round brackets, then in quotation marks we'll write ava, else we are returning. Okay, very good. So then once it's downloaded, we will assign this to our full name label. Full name label text equals to, then in quotation marks we will make a reference to our first name variable which we have created, and we'll cast it as string, and we want to capitalize it because in the database it is stored everything lowercase. So put one more quotation marks because this square brackets, this square brackets will store the first name, then we'll capitalize it. Then we're coming out from the square round brackets, And we're doing the same for the last name. Left slash in the round brackets will make a reference to the last name which we have declared above. And we cast it as string. And again, we're putting the round brackets. And after the first round bracket, we capitalize it. Okay. The next step, we want to download the imagery. We write helper, download image. As you remember, this function allows us to download the image from the path which we are using from Ava path. We cast it as string, and we want to show the downloaded one in Ava image view, or show, and here will be the placeholder user PNG. If it will fail to download the image, it will show us the placeholder. Okay, so what do you think, guys? What if we could, instead of rewriting always this code, if we could put this code in our helper? This is, I think, will be an excellent idea. I will copy this code, or even I will cut this code, and we're going to the helper. So this is, we got download image. Before or after download image, whatever you prefer. Here I will put this function load user. Okay, so here are some complication which we are having, not the complications, some adjustments which we have to do. Is first of all, we are using here the full name. So we are accessing here a global variable. What we need to do is we need here declare what will be the first name, load user with here, then we will write first name, we'll put it as a string, then we'll put comma last name, then we'll put the string, then again comma, and we can, let's say, what we can do is then the Ava path, it will make for us the complication. Okay, not a problem. Instead of adjusting this code, because for all the cases it can be different, because when for the home view controller, we load this code with additional picture, and for the cover for the BioVC, we load it without this. Or if you want, okay, in sake of just we'll write it, it doesn't mean that we'll always use it. Okay, let's write it just to have a practice. Okay, I'll return this code. That's the one. So we'll load user with the first name and last name. This is the one. And or we can write load full name if you want. And then we'll write here show in, and it will be UI label to show it in. Show in label. So okay, first name, this is, I will replace it. This block of code, we can remove it. This full name, it will be just our label. Label will be equals to this first name variable we'll put here, then last name we'll put here. To cast it as a string, we can remove it like this. So this is how we'll adjust the code, like this. Okay, this download image will remove it as well. So this function will allow to configure to load or configure appearance of the full name. Configure appearance of the full name and the full name label. Okay. So what we are doing now, we'll go now to, oops, let's come back. Yeah, we need to remove this as string because here we declared it will be the string. Okay, we'll now come back to our post view controller, and in view did load we can load this function helper dot load full name, where the first name will be current user question marks, and then in the round brackets and the square quotation marks we write first name. Then the last name will be current user question mark, in the square brackets and in quotation marks we write last name. Show in full name label. And yes, we need to cast it as string, and last name we need to cast it as string. Excellent. And another function will be to download our image. Download image from the Ava path, current user question marks, then the square brackets and quotation marks will run Ava path, and we cast it as string. Show in, we want to show in the Ava image view, or show the placeholder user PNG. Here we are loading all user details, which are to be shown in this current view controller. So I'm going, these buttons, the appearance of these buttons will adjust, don't worry about this, guys. We're going to post. Okay, that is one of the minus trying to write this function in this way. Why it's breaking down? Because we're forcing to downcast it. The best idea will be here to create the variables guard let first name be equals to current user question marks, then square brackets and quotation marks, we'll write first name. Then again we're doing let last name equals to current user question mark, square brackets and then quotation marks, we'll write last name. And again we'll put comma, we'll write let ava path be equals to current user question mark, square brackets and quotation marks, we'll write ava, just ava. Else we want to return this. So this current user, this one we will replace it, and yeah, we will replace this with the first name variable created above, and we'll force downcast it as string. Because here we can force downcast it, because in case if it won't be available, it will return and break it here. So here I write last name, and here I write, it's not ava path, it's just path if I'm not mistaken. That's why it got broken. And here we'll cast it as string. Very good. So the reason why it got now crashed, because it wasn't ava path, it just ava. Okay, here we go. This is what exactly we wanted to achieve, guys. Excellent. Well done, guys. And this is not the end. What we can do is, this is all we can put in the separate function, which is a func load user, open and close round brackets, curly brackets, sorry. And let's cut this code and put it here. Loading, here we are safely accessing user related details. I mean, from the key to the value. This is how we're accessing this. Here we are assigning accessed details to the functions, which loads the user. And one more thing, guys, will be the best practice. We're going to helper. As here we are updating the label, it is an amazing idea to try to pass it in the background thread, dispatch queue.main.asynchronously, and let's put it in this curly brackets. So that is amazing. And one more thing which here I'll write a comment for you, loading user. And we'll call this function in viewDidLoad, load user. And one more thing, what I would like to do is, I would like here to make the corners of the image view rounded. Okay, we can write a separate function, but I can write it in the same function where we make the rounds corner. So we write ava image view.frame ava image view.layer corner radius equals ava image view.layer frame width divided by 2 ava image view clips to bounds equals true. And this is rounded corners. Excellent. One more thing is that this function is better to be called in one of the another native protocol, which called viewDidLayout subviews, super.viewDidLayout subviews, and we can call this rounded corners here. Why? Because width for bigger size can be different. The width of the image can, for the bigger size, can be different than for the smaller size screens. And this function is executed after adjusting the layout. Okay, this function is loaded after adjusting the layout. Very good. So we can now build and run this. And our ABBA is rounded as wanted. Excellent, guys. So another step will be to working with our placeholder and the text view, and after that we'll go to the image. Thank you very much, guys. So let's go further.